is a dancer, photographer, writer, filmmaker. She, anything that you think of, she is. But what is interesting for me in her story is that when she was looking to start up her business, she asked for her help, right, to family members and to friends, and they said no. So that was shocking to me that your own support system, right, and your own family say no to your stuff. But instead of her being down, or instead of her just like stopping that dream and just leave the dream alone, she actually made it happen. She made it happen. She's now running her business and everything, and she's doing great. And we go deep into her story. So stick to the end. I promise it's worth it, guys. But again, thank you guys for coming back. And here is Gibel's episode. Why do you want to gum so bad?
Oh, okay. So it's like this thing I've been doing since high school where before I go on a presentation or before I speak, I chew gum and then I spit it out right before I'm going to present our talk. That way I'm more aware of my breathing. Okay. Because you can smell your own breath. It's like a conscious thing. Okay. So if I do get nervous, my breathing gets more, and I notice because I smell myself more, like, because you smell the mintiness, you know. And it just makes me more aware of my breathing. That I feel like if I ever do get nervous, I think to be a good communicator, you have to have like a good breathing technique, and chewing gum helps me have a good breathing technique overall.
And is that like a known technique, or it's just like something that you got?
It's just something I picked up in high school.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. So every time I would chew gum, it just made me more aware of my breath. Okay. And it's like, I need to work on my breathing. Nice. Yeah. That's good.
Now that you mentioned high school, Coronado High School, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What class are you?
2017.
2017. Yeah. Damn. Okay. So how was high school for you? Because I came from Juarez to high school over here. So like the culture and everything, the environment was way different. But how was you growing like high school? Who was Gibel during that?
That's funny you say Juarez, because so did I.
Nice.
I went to Teresiano,
nice.
Colegio Latinoamericano. It was a private Catholic school in Juarez. And I loved Teresiano. So going over there to high school, I think it really helped me, because in a Teresiano, like you're around like very like your classmates are only like 20 people.
Yes,
and those are the 20 people you're gonna see throughout your whole middle school. But with high school, I felt like I could be anyone, you know. And I didn't have to stick to just being one person. I could be an artist. I could be a writer. I could do a lot of different things, you know, without being like put in a box.
Nice. Mm-hmm. So you went actually, I know for sure Thunderettes, right? You were there. But
how do you know that? I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I did my research.
You did your research.
Yeah. But how was that? Because I know you love dancing. And besides dancing, you're a filmmaker, photographer, creator, actor. You are pretty much a whole thing. But let's just take it step by step. Yeah. So how was being in that group, and then the environment with that group, with only girls and everything? How was that experience for you?
I really enjoyed it. I feel like I should have enjoyed it more, in the sense of like, what about the days I did miss practice? Like, no, like I should have been there more. I should have like emphasized it more. But I love Thunderettes. I love dancing. I think that was one of the first like steps on my journey of like being an artist. And I used to dance in middle school back in Teresiano. Nice. I took ballet there, and I told myself when I get to high school, I'm going to start to pursue dance more. Because in middle school, I did this dance performance where I forgot everything. Ooh. And I froze on stage. And my classmates made fun of me.
No way.
And I remember so much, because I heard this one girl said, wow, like she can't even dance.
No.
Yeah. Mind you, I was like 14, 13 at the time. Yeah. And so I think when I got to high school, that was a challenge. I was like, no, I'm going to be a really good dancer. And I think my senior year of high school, I was actually a really good dancer.
Okay.
I was also at LAT Studios. So dancing was my life in high school. I would wake up at 6 a.m. We'd go to band practice because we would dance with the band.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
and then we would work on our own dances. And then we go to school. And then after school, we'd practice again. Yeah. And then after that practice, I'd go to the studio, LAT.
And dance.
So I'd go home probably like 9, 10.
Wow. So literally your whole day, it was just dancing and dancing. Were you a good student? Because I know in most like programs in school, you have to have good grades in order for you to be able to compete or dance or play, right? Yeah. So were you a good grade student?
Yeah, I think throughout high school, I never had problems with my grades. I was always an A/B student. I think my junior year, I did have problems with a math course. I'm trying to think what it was. I don't know if it was Algebra 2 or Pre-Cal, but there was this one class where my dance instructor told me, like, if you fail this class, I'm not going to let you perform. Ooh. And I remember it because I was, I had to take some time off the studio. Okay. And just study. And yeah,
because it was too much.
It was. And you know what? Math has never been my strong suit. Okay. I told myself when I get to college, I'm only going to take that math basic, and that is it. Because I hate math.
Yeah, same here. But a question, and this is more for me, because I don't know if it's true or not, but do you guys really have beef with the cheerleaders? Like, or you guys were not that kind of school, like, oh, I'm a Thunderhead and you are a cheerleader? No.
You know what? It was really weird. I feel like everyone in high school thought that.
Yes.
But within our groups, I don't think so. In our senior year, our dance captain started dating I think he was the cheer captain.
Oh,
it was a guy. And they dated. They're not together anymore, but they dated in high school. And I remember this because he would have his uniform on. She would have her Thunderette uniform on. And they were such a cute couple. Yeah. I remember they would walk down the hallways. We'd see them at, just throughout high school. And it was very nice thinking, oh, wow, like our Thunderette dance captain is dating the...
nice. And it was, I mean, it was way different because... I thought, because I was not into those groups or anything like that, but I always thought like, maybe they have beef. I went to Eastwood High School. Yeah. So maybe, and sometimes the cheerleaders will be like, oh, they're trooperheads like that. And I don't want to deal with them. Yeah. But it's weird. I just wanted to ask you that because it was just a funny question for me.
I never had anyone tell me anything negative. Okay. But it wouldn't surprise me if maybe like once in a while there was someone making a comment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And that's everywhere pretty much. Yeah. Not only in high school.
Everywhere. You see someone doing something that's similar to what you're doing. Yeah. But it's not the exact same thing.
Yes.
You're going to analyze it,
Correct. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. But then, okay, so you graduated high school, class 17, right? Mm-hmm. And then I guess what triggered your love for photography was a trip to Paris, right?
Paris, yeah.
So tell me about that, because I know you were like living your 24/7 dancing, and that was your passion and everything. But then you took that trip, and then things changed.
There's actually like a huge gap. So dancing taught me discipline. Okay, I feel like having that discipline and that love for something you do. And when I graduated high school, I got into the Gold Diggers at UTEP. I don't think they're called Gold Diggers anymore.
No, they changed their name.
They changed their name. Yeah. And when I got there, it made me realize I don't love dancing. Okay. I don't love it. I enjoy it. Okay. But I just don't have that love and passion for it.
And what happened? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what happened that your love for that passion like went down? Like it was so much work, or what was different like compared to your high school years?
I think the old instructor at the time, she was a horrible person. I saw her make a lot of racist comments. I saw her made a lot of comments talking about the girls and their weights. And I saw her, I think she called this one girl out, and like she ended up like crying and like leaving.
Oh my God. That's
so for me, they were like, oh, well, you can't miss practice. And I missed orientation. And they were like, well, if you don't come back, like you're out. And I remember that. Like, I have the text message. I probably do. I don't know if I still have. But it was too much stress. And I'm like, this isn't fun anymore. I also realized I didn't love dance because when I got into college, I was putting less effort into it.
Okay.
And I feel like dance was always, like, just a way for me to be on stage. Because I loved acting.
Correct.
I loved acting. And back then, our theater teacher in Cornell, she was kind of mean. She was kind of mean because I remember one time asking her, like, oh, like, I might register for your class. And then she was like, I'm busy at the moment. Can you come back later?
Oh, wow. Like
and
that.
She didn't even give me a chance to talk. And it's funny because now the theater teacher is actually a friend of mine.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, Martin. And oh my God, he's amazing. I've seen what he has done to the theater program at Cornell.
Yeah.
And I tell him so many times, I wish.
Have you mentioned that story?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah? Okay, well, what's his reaction?
He was like, yeah. I got, like, there's people that, like, had complaints about the old. Okay. And I feel like she was also, like, very, very older.
Okay.
And sometimes you do need that new generation, to teach, because I've been taught photography by someone that's, like, he looks 70, but maybe he's in his late 60s. And he's a YouTube professor. And, and, like, some of his teaching methods, I'm like, no, like, we need someone.
Yeah, something newer.
Yeah. But you asked me about photography. Actually, yes, I discovered my love for photography in Paris.
Okay.
However, I used to take pictures when I was 12, 13. My parents, they bought me this camera. And it was those cameras they would advertise a lot on TV where it's like water resistant.
Oh,
hiking
nice.
resistant,
Okay.
Everything resistant. Buy this camera.
It was the old school GoPro, I think. Kind of
actually,
against anything. Yeah.
And I told my parents, I want it. Like, please buy it. And I don't remember if it was birthday or Christmas, but they ended up gifting it to me. And we would travel to Nicaragua a lot. Nice. And I would take pictures of nature. I still have those pictures up on my Facebook. And
nice.
I went through them the other day. And I'm like, because for me, that was like my first moment as a photographer. And when my parents divorced, my camera broke, the lens broke. And I was like, hey, like, can you guys buy me a new camera? But they were in the middle of a divorce.
Correct.
And my dad was like, ask your mom. And my mom was like, ask your dad. And I ended up never getting a camera until I went to Paris. And I discovered my love for photography there. It was very eye-opening because I had only ever been to Nicaragua, Mexico, and the U.S. And I feel like going to a country where you don't know the language, but there's so much beautiful art around you. It inspires you, it inspires you to want to learn more. I actually took my iPhone. Okay. A lot of people think I took my camera. And what I ended up doing is that my iPhone pictures, I ended up editing them.
Okay.
As if they were, camera pictures.
Correct.
And this was back in 2019.
Yeah, 2019 before pandemic and everything.
Yeah, before pandemic.
Yeah.
I was very depressed at the time. I think that's why I took my Paris trip because I was very, very depressed. I was in an abusive relationship. I just wanted out, and I didn't know what to do. And I told myself, okay, what's the one thing you want? And I was like, to go to Paris. So I had done this business. We can go into it later.
Yeah.
And that funded my trip to Paris. But yeah, when I went over there, I wanted to film everything. Okay. And it just gave me that urge of like, I need a camera. I need to film everything because like I was already thinking of angles and compositions and, and then when I went to the Louvre, I was like, oh my God, like all of this is so beautiful. Like imagine recreating this painting, but as a photography.
Correct.
And using the same angles as this painter did. And I think that's really when my brain was like, you want to be a photographer.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, by then, did you have any experience at all with photography? Or were you starting your career when it comes to photography?
I was starting my career in that moment. I had always been a creative model. I had loved modeling just because I thought it was a great opportunity to network.
Okay.
Because being an actor is really hard, especially in El Paso. And I feel like modeling helps you, helps people see your face more, especially through social media. Like if they see your picture out more and you tell people you're an actor, they're going to automatically think of you,
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the main reasons why I got into modeling was because I wanted my acting career at the time to really expand more. Okay. I wanted to get more gigs. I wanted to be able to get more opportunities. So I had always loved modeling. So I would always have a lot of photographer friends, and they would they'd give me a lot of advice.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that it was like starting my photography career, because there's one thing of like I could talk to you about like dance.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna really understand it until you try it out, until you're like, oh, this is what my friend was talking about. And that's how it was.
So that trip helped you like, oh, this angle, this composition, everything. And that's when you fall in love with that. Now, before we touch base on your creative side, when it comes to the photography, talk to me about Miss El Paso 2017.
Oh my God. So it was this pageant called Miss El Paso Star. And the girl who was running it, she was kind of like all over the place.
Okay.
So I had done it last minute because she was the owner of this other pageant called Miss West Texas.
Okay. And
the girl who had won, her name is Victoria. And oh my God, I love her. I hadn't seen her in years, and I ran into her actually at an event at Power of the Pass.
Oh, nice.
And she hugged me and she was like, I am so happy for you, and I'm so happy where your career is right now, because I've seen you grown. And for me, that was a huge thing, because she used to be my role model.
I was
back in high school.
Yeah.
I met her in high school. I met her when I was probably 16.
Okay.
And we went to the same high school, actually.
Nice.
So yeah, I looked up to her a lot. And
what was that feeling when she actually said those words? Like, hey, I'm proud of you. I watched you grow since the beginning. What was that emotion that were going through your mind?
It was very overwhelming, because I feel like people who knew me in high school and people who know me now, like I would hope for them to tell me, like, or not to tell me, but I would hope for them to even see it like, oh, wow, like this person has changed a lot. This person has changed for the good, she's grown a lot. Because it's been tough. It's been a tough couple of years for me. But for like my high school role model to tell me that, it did make me very happy. It made me like, oh, wow, like I feel like I am on the right track,
Yeah, correct. It's like the cherry on top. Like, let's keep doing what we're doing. Now, that process of becoming Miss El Paso, how was that for you? Because I interviewed before other contestants, and they tell me that the process is tough. It's nothing like, of course, we all see the final product on social media and everything, but they don't see the rehearsals, they don't see the walks and everything like that. So what was that experience for you?
It was very intense. I remember that I was working out all the time. I had lost a lot of weight. So if you do see those little pictures, I was size 0, if not 00. And it was intense. I remember I got a hair and makeup. I got it sponsored. I got a personal trainer, and he sponsored my pageant.
Nice. It was Healthy Lifestyles, right?
Healthy Lifestyles. And it was very, very intense. I think the reason why I don't mention it is because I ended up not liking the whole pageant. The whole pageant industry, the whole like just idea of pageants.
Correct.
I really do feel like when there are pageants where they don't include a talent, or they don't include like questions about who you are, it makes me sad. Cause,
as a person,
because I'm way more than just a pretty girl in a nice dress. I have talents. I'm smart. And that's why I do love pageants that they showcase a woman's talents and her personality and who she is,
Yes.
But overall, I don't think that whole pageant, it really made me more self-conscious about how I look at the time. And it's very overwhelming. It's a lot of rehearsal, a lot of like, you have to dedicate a time. It's like having a part-time job for 4 or 6 weeks,
And you're not even getting paid for it.
And you're not getting
just the exposure and everything.
Yeah. And no, if anything, you're paying out of pocket, because you have to buy your outfits. You have to, if you don't get sponsorships, you have to pay for your makeup and your hair, and it can get expensive. I remember like at the time I didn't drive, so I would have to take the bus and walk to go to rehearsal.
Oh, damn.
And I remember that one time we ended like at 8. And yeah, I was like walking really late at night, and I was holding like this big duffel bag. It was my Thunder Rip bag, but I put all my pageant stuff in there.
Yeah.
And it was really cold too, so I had like a hoodie on, and I had to walk, and I was like, oh my God, this is intense.
Yes. Yeah. So you would take the bus and then go back home and everything. So it was just, it was something else for you.
Yeah, like in high school, I took the bus. I think freshman year of college, I kind of stopped. But yeah, throughout all of high school, I took the bus. I'd walk everywhere.
Okay.
Which now I'm like, damn, how would I do it? How would I walk? Because I would walk, like, I'm not even kidding you, I'd walk miles.
Nice.
Just because sometimes the bus wouldn't lead me where I wanted to go, and I'd have to walk even further.
Wow.
And it was crazy because I was always carrying like my Thunder Red duffel bag, and I would have people be like, oh, I saw you the other day walking, and I'm like, that's creepy. Right. But yeah,
that was you. That was your way to actually like working for your dreams and making sure that you were there to experience that. That's a cool. But now, okay, so you end that phase of the pageants and everything, and now you were doing modeling, right? Because you didn't like that side of the business, and then you went to this trip. You came back with another mentality when it comes to photography. You started to get more involved in photography. So. Tell me a little about your journey. How? Because now you have your own business. You have your production business and everything that will touch base. And I want to touch base on that because your work is just amazing. What you do, I love your work. Yeah. But tell me your story to get to that point of, you know what, I'm gonna open my own business.
So you know how I mentioned that I started a business and I used that money to go to Paris.
Correct.
So my mom had just bought a new house that she got with the divorce settlement, and it was crazy because I got really mad because she took my siblings to go see all these houses.
Oh, not you.
And not me.
Oh, wow.
And I understand I was doing so many stuff at the time, and I understand, but I got really mad because there was this one house that if she would have gotten it, it had a studio in the back.
Oh, wow.
And I would have been able to use it as a photography studio.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, and it was really nice.
Okay.
It had like AC, and it was.
Yeah, I would have been mad too.
Yeah, but so my mom, she was looking at houses, and she didn't consult with me because at the time I wasn't living with her. I was living at a duplex that my grandmother owned.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And she was like, you know what, you can stay there as long as you want. Finish college there. It didn't end up happening, but you can stay there. And what happened was that my mom was at an apartment on the west side, and her lease wasn't going to end until like another 4 months. But she had already bought the house, and I was like, Mom, like this house is just sitting there. And my mom was like, we can go check on it, make sure everything's okay. We had already, the water was on, everything was on. She had sold everything or given away everything from all of her old stuff. Like, okay, it was like from like my marriage to my dad. Yeah, she had all the sofa, all the furniture. Yeah, okay. She didn't want it. She wanted to start fresh. She was like, you know what? She bought herself a new couch. It was already inside the house. She bought herself a new beds for everyone, and that's when I was like, you know what? It's trying to think if I did this in 2019. Yeah, it's 2019. It's January 2019. You know what? Let me put the house as an Airbnb.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Let me put it as an Airbnb. And once your lease is up, we can move. We can move in.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, I don't know. And I was like, you know what, Mom? I really do think we can make a lot of money from this. And my mom was like, you know what? Here are the keys. If you clean it, manage it.
My bad. It's me. I'm so sorry.
Take pictures. I was like, you can do it. Okay. So I put on Airbnb, and in 4 months, I made probably like 20 grand.
Nice.
I made 20 grand in 4 months. And it was crazy because my mom was just like, no, you did not. And I was like, but mind you, I was like scrubbing toilets. I was changing the bed sheets. I was managing.
Correct.
And I had even gone to an event here at Downtown Spaces, and it was an entrepreneur event. And I was telling people, I have my own Airbnb business, and it's going really good. So So I tell my mom, I know this is really hard. I know you just bought your new house, but can you please keep renting your apartment?
Oh, wow.
And can you please let me rent this route? Because in 4 months, I can make 20 grand. Imagine what I can make in 12 months. And she said no.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It really did break my heart because I feel like that money, if I would have been able to make it, I would have been able to buy a house. And I would have been already living in a house right now.
Correct.
And my mom, she does tell me, she's like, oh, maybe you're right. Maybe I should have. Because right now the housing market is horrible.
It is.
And so that money, I didn't invest it in my business, Le Magie, but I invested it in myself. I went to Brazil. I went to Paris. I went to Aruba. I went to Mexico. I went to Monterrey. I went to New York.
Nice.
Yeah, I went to all of those places.
Because you love to travel, and then I see, because I do follow you on your Instagram and everything, and I love the mini stories that you upload sometimes when you travel, and it's just like a different experience. When you went to Brazil, I guess like you were on a river, like a tour or something like that.
I went to the Amazon.
Yeah, there you go. That was just amazing. I was like, damn. But I'm so sorry to interrupt you. But yeah.
No, I think traveling. So I didn't invest in my business, but in a way I feel like I did because I invested in myself. That gave me the courage to open a business.
Correct.
Maybe back then I feel like I would have kept some of the money towards equipment, you know. Yeah. But at the time I wasn't thinking, you know, I had yet to have gone to Paris.
Correct.
So yeah, I had this money and I was like, my family's not going to help me buy a house. I need someone to help me co-sign. No one wanted to help me. I was I reached out to every family member.
Yeah.
Please help me co-sign a house. I'm going to put it on Airbnb. I show them like analytics. I show them like what we would make.
Like a presentation, a business presentation.
And they all told me, you're too young.
What?
How old was I? I think I was 19. I don't know. I was young. So I wasn't 21. I know that for sure. Okay. And they all told me no. And it frustrated me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to still have a business. I don't know in what, but I'm still going to have a business. And I went to Paris, and I fell in love with photography. And I feel like we keep forgetting the filmmaking, though.
Yeah, so, we're going to touch base on that. Yeah, but go.
The reason why I wanted to be a photographer was so I could be a good filmmaker.
Nice.
So I remember that the pandemic hit. I had just gotten a camera. And I didn't know what to do with it. I took a directing class, and no one wanted to help. And it was really sad because I had worked with all these people before that I thought were my friends. So I thought that, I helped you with your project. Like, do you mind? And they were all like, no. And it made me really sad because I was like, oh, no. Like, I feel like I spent from senior year to high school to 2020 just helping people, you know. Yeah. I helped someone establish their production company. I helped someone do all these short films. I helped someone do like a music video and a commercial, and I never got paid.
Just free work.
It was just a lot of free work, and it was frustrating because I felt like I was drowning. I felt like I had no friends, and it wasn't until I saw someone post their work as a cinematographer, and I didn't know this person. His name's Diego.
Okay.
I mention him a lot because I feel like if I hadn't met him, I wouldn't be where I am, and I wouldn't have my business.
Correct.
So Diego Davila, I messaged him. I'm like, you know what? You don't know me, Diego, but I have an idea for a short film. I don't have equipment right now. I only have like a small camera, and I don't know if we can even use it because it's a photography camera, not a film. It's not a video camera. Yeah. And he was like, you know what? Send me the script, or let's meet up for it. Let's both get tested for COVID.
Correct.
And let's meet up at a coffee shop and let's discuss the script. So we did that. We met up, and he's the first one to ever have told me, you know what? I believe in you. This is really good work. Why aren't you doing it? And I'm like, I don't have anyone to do it with. Yeah. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to help you. Nice. And I was going to pay him. And he was like, no. Like, I'm going to help you so I can show you that you are talented and you can do it.
Wow.
And that inspired me so much. I can't tell you. We did the short film, and I just fell in love with filmmaking.
What was that feeling, Gibel? Because it's true. Most of the time, friends that you thought that were friends or family members, they're the first ones to say no. And for a completely stranger to be like, you know what, let's give it a shot. Let's meet up. Let's show me what you have. And then the moment that you were going to pay him was like, no. I just want to show you of what you are capable of doing. What was that to your mind and to your mindset?
Like it was amazing. I feel like for the first time, I felt like no one had believed in me because I was very devastated for the whole Airbnb business, like flopping. And I was so sad. And at the time, I didn't have friends because I was in an abusive relationship. And this person was like, no, my friends are your friends.
Oh,
and
wow.
I didn't have, like, you can ask anyone. Like, the friends I have now, I all met them in 2020.
Okay.
That you can ask. The only one was probably like 2 people that I had knew before.
Okay.
And they had gotten mad at me because they were like, will you distance yourselves from us? And,
oh, shit.
And
but this was because of the abusive relationship.
Yeah, and like when they found out, they were like, no, like, and I'm still friends with them, and one of them is my best friend.
Nice.
And yeah, it's very overwhelming, you know, when your friends and family are like, they don't believe in you. And I think if you really want to go after something, you have to believe in yourself because no one else is going to believe in you. And I think surrounding yourself with people who have the same dream or the same goals, those people, you need to be around those people. Correct. You need to really
stick with them.
You know, because if you stick with people that have a different mentality, you're never going to grow.
Correct.
You're never going to grow. And even now, I feel like I've grown so much because what I do is I find people that are way more talented than me, and I have them mentor me. I become friends with them, and I learn so much.
Yes. Now, how long did it take you actually to be that confident, Gibel? That confident, because I know you were in an abusive relationship, and I don't want to go into detail, but it was an abusive relationship, and then you got out of the relationship, and then you had to basically build yourself up from zero. But what took you to that moment of, no, you know what, I have to do this to myself?
I think it took me a good 6 months, because I had broken up with that person in August, and they finally they left me alone for like a good 6 months, and I'm so glad because I had to speak to the family and be like, this person needs to leave me alone.
Yes.
And so it was a good 6 months, and I was really, really, my confidence was not there. I was really mad at myself too because I told myself, how could I let myself get consumed? You know, we blame ourselves. We do, you know. We blame ourselves for actions we can't control, but were affected. Correct. That affected us. And I think it was probably meeting Diego that gave me my confidence back because this person always put me down and told me I couldn't do it. And I believed him. Yeah. I was like, you're right, I can't do it. Because I was with that person for 4 years, and I was like, oh, look at the pictures I took. And they were just like, it's whatever.
What?
Yeah, and then I would write and be like, oh, look, I wrote the script, you know, maybe we can do. And he's like, no. He was like, I've seen better.
What?
Yeah, and it's so sad because I honestly thought, oh, fuck, I need to get better. It's me. Correct. I'm the problem.
Yeah, you start doubting yourself, like, I'm really talented or I'm just not that good.
And at the time, like I said, I didn't have, like, that circle of support. So when I met Diego, and it's funny because Diego actually, he ends up telling me a few weeks after, he's like, you know what, we actually kind of met before. And I was like, we have? Like, when? He's like, well, you don't remember, but we met the year before at an event. You were the main character in a short film, and I went to go see it. And I had something to do after the event was over. Okay. But I remember thinking like, wow, she's an amazing actress. I want to go meet her. And you were actually sitting a few rows from where I was sitting. We were both watching your movie. And I go up to the director, and I'm like, you know what, man? Amazing movie. Can you please tell your actress that I loved her work and I want to work with her? Wow. You have my number. loved it, and he leaves. And this person never told me.
Wow.
Never told me. Well, it was my abusive relationship. Yeah, that's why he never told me.
Okay. Makes sense.
When I heard that, I was like, wow, how many other opportunities did I miss
because of that
relationship? And it made me, I feel like it drove me into a very like paranoid. I was very paranoid because I was like, oh, like what if this person is not helping me and they're just pretending to help me. And I became very paranoid on like who to associate with, you know?
Yes.
Because I want to associate with people that in a room of opportunities, they say my name, you know?
Correct.
But yeah, it wasn't, it was very, very like shocking when I found that out. But, you know, working with Diego, I feel like I learned so much. He showed me like so much. He showed me like, you know what, I can't be there along the way to help you. But he told me like, here, have this lens, use it. Because I was with like a Canon T3i.
Yes.
And he gave me the zoom lens.
Okay.
I think it was a 24-70. Or maybe it was 100 and something. But he gave it to me. He was like, you know what, I'm not using it. Here, go create magic without me.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's like, and if you have any questions, I'm a phone call away.
So he basically just give you the tools, like, hey, if you have any questions, just let me know. And damn, that's crazy.
And I feel like I've been able to pass that on. Like if I meet people, lately I've been meeting a lot of people that have been asking me, like, how have you started your business? And how have you done this? And what advice do you have for me? And I tell them, you know what do you want to do? You want to do photography? Why aren't you doing it? I don't have the equipment. And I take out my bag and I hand them my camera and I'm like, here, you can use my camera. Let me know when you want to use it.
Nice.
And I feel like I'm a little harsh now to people because I'm like, what? Like, what's stopping you? You know? And a lot of people are like, I don't have the right equipment. I'm like, what do you need? I will lend it to you. Mm-hmm. Do not tell me you do not have the right equipment because I will help you.
Yes.
You know? And if I see that, and with the right equipment, you can make money. Yeah. You know? Like, post your work. And if you need my camera for a photo shoot, you need my camera for a wedding, I will lend it to you if it's available, you know? Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's how I started. So I had that little T3 camera, T3i. And I just started taking pictures. I started editing. And then I met my good friend, David Corral, and he got me into videography.
Nice.
And we started doing music videos together, and he started lending me his camera.
Okay.
And it opened my mind because these people were lending me thousands of dollars of equipment.
I know, they're not.
And yeah. It opened my mind of how there's people in the world that want you to succeed, you know, because I think it made me really, like, it shocked me because my ex-partner, who was very abusive, he never once let me touch his camera.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember, I don't think I ever told that to anyone. I never touched his camera. I never touched his equipment. He would always be like, oh, it might break if you touch it. And I think that made me even more scared to use equipment. So when I was seeing these good friends, and they're good friends, like, let me use their $1,000 equipment without having to ask for anything in return.
Correct. Just doing it for the love of the art.
It inspired me so much that I was like, you know what? I'm not going to let you guys down.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make myself proud. I'm going to become the artist I promised I would become in Paris. You know?
Nice.
And that's why I wear a beret. I think a lot of people don't understand the backstory to it. Like, I wear a beret because I was very depressed when I went to Paris.
Correct.
Very depressed. And when I had my beret on in Paris, I think those were one of the happiest moments in my life. So when I came back to El Paso, I was like, I was still stuck in that environment, that very toxic environment that I said, like, no, like, I want to wear this beret as a symbol that I can be happy again. And I will go to Paris again. And next time I go, I'm going to go as a photographer.
And you did.
And I did,
because you went back.
I went back.
And I compare your pictures and the videos that you posted back on the first trip and then when you just came back, and you looked super happy. You looked like a completely different person. And that has become like your brand because they know you because of that. Like you have different colors, you have different styles, you have everything. But that's just amazing. Shout out to Diego because thanks to Diego, like
shout out to Diego Davila.
Right? Now, so he helped you, right? And then you decided then, you know what, I'm going to start a company. Can you repeat the name? Because I know I'm not going to pronounce
Le Magie.
Le Magie. Okay.
It means the magic.
Correct. Because I went to your website.
Yeah.
And now that you mentioned, like Diego told you, go and create magic. And then you use that as your slogan for your business. It just like...
Yeah.
But it's good. So tell me more about your company because it's a production company.
Yes.
You do weddings, a lot of events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But what exactly do you want to take that business to?
So Le Magie Productions, we focus on photography, videography, filmmaking. Those are the 3 aspects that we focus on. And I have people that they work with me. Like sometimes I can't, not with the editing, but sometimes I need to choose like I do a wedding and it's like 2,000 pictures. And I'm like, here, just choose the top 300, send it to me and I'll edit it. Right now I have a problem where I don't like people editing my work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a problem. But I've had people say like, oh, you should do it because you'll be able to take on more.
But you know what? I'm so sketchy about that because I'm the same way. Because when you upload a photo or you send the photo to your clients, it's your name that goes with the work. So you already have your editing style, you have everything, but letting other people touch your work is like, I'm still in the same boat as you.
So right now I have people working as me as a second shooter. Okay. So when we shoot weddings, what I'll do is I'll get their pictures and I'll edit them.
Okay.
However, there are times where if I trust their creative direction and I feel like, oh, you know what, let me keep their style in, I'll be like, you know what, you edit them.
Okay.
I'm going to pay you more and edit them. Just that way the client can have like both.
Yes.
You know?
Both styles and everything. That's just amazing. But yeah, I'm on the same boat as you. Sometimes I'm like, hey, you should hire an editor. And it's like, okay.
But it's my work.
And especially with video too, because I mean, I'm sure you can relate to this because funny fact, I started photography because I wanted to become a videographer and I wanted to do the same thing. Yeah, I did. Yeah. And I have my good friend, Steven Flores, shout out to you. He taught me most of the stuff that I know from photography, but he knew since the beginning, you know what, dude, I know you're going to videography. So start looking at this video, start looking at this, and then I'm trying to make it work on the videography. Yeah. But especially with videos though, when I have a vision and I know how the final product I want it to look, it's super hard for me to just give that project to someone else so they can edit it. It's just like, it's like,
but you know what? Who knows? Because you asked me, where do I see Le Magie Productions in the future? I don't know where I see it. Okay. Right now, I'm doing really good with my production company. I have weddings booked till next year. Nice. I just did a commercial for a car loan company yesterday. Nice. It's going to be on TV. It's going to be on...
There you go.
They told me K-Fox. Yeah. Oh, nice. And, so I feel like I do have a couple of stuff for Le Magie.
Yes.
Because I don't know if I want to say it because I don't know if I want to jinx it. But I'll say it. I want to buy my own building.
Okay.
And turn it into photography/film studio.
Nice, that would be great.
And I want to work out of it. And I really want to be able to show people that El Paso, there's so many talented filmmakers. And I want my place to be an open space. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm actually just saving up money to buy buy property. I'm not going to buy it to see her. Property is it's very crazy.
Yes.
But yeah, I've been saving up, and it's crazy because having my own production company has shown me how you, as an artist, if you really want to have your own business, be prepared to work 24/7.
Correct.
Like, be prepared because no one's going to
put the time and the effort. Yeah, as you. Yeah. And that's, I can relate to that because, I mean, this office that you're seeing right now, I just got it like 4 months ago, 5 months ago, right? But it was a dream of mine. Like, you know what? Instead of inviting you to my house and let's record at my house. This looks more professional. But I'm in love with your idea of buying your own building because there's not a lot of places here in El Paso to do that.
Yeah.
And if there are a mix of workplace/photography studios, but not strictly for creators. That's just amazing.
Yeah, thank you. And actually, I'm talking with a girl photographer, and we're actually gonna invest in this business idea together.
Nice.
Yeah, and we're I think right now it's more of like a waiting game. She wants to rent out a place right now and just do it.
Just to start.
To start. And she actually has been looking at a few spots. I think last week she called me and like, oh, should I put the down deposit on this place? And I'm like, I was in class and I was like, no.
Wait. Just wait.
Just because I didn't like it. I want to, they didn't have like AC or heating.
Oh, okay.
And they were like, she was like, yeah, but they said they were going to install it. And I'm like, yeah, but they haven't, and I've worked in places where they promise things.
Correct.
And I'm like, no, unless you have it on the table, I'm not going to commit, I'm not going to be all in. So yeah, she wants to rent it. I want to buy it.
Correct.
And, maybe we'll meet each other in the middle.
Yes.
Just because if I'm going to invest in my own business, I want to really be able to, I really want to be able to make more profit than what I'm spending, and I feel like being a photographer, being a videographer, sometimes we spend more than what we're making.
Yes.
And it's because the equipment is expensive,
It is. And that's another thing too. Like a lot of people don't understand our prices because they think that we charge only to go and take the pictures. But no, there's a lot of work behind the scenes, like going through 2,000 pictures just to select 300. You know what I mean? A lot of, and that's when I think, and I was going to ask you that, like, why do you think El Paso, it's a little bit sometimes like close-minded when it comes to support other content creators, not only on the photography industry, but in general. But I had the opportunity this past year to interview a lot of content creators here from El Paso, and all of them say the same thing. Like they don't understand why we have that mentality. Instead of, like you mentioned right now, instead of be like, oh, that's good, but let's try it this way and make yourself better, they try to put you down. So why do you think is that mentality?
Do you mean like people who aren't content creators or content creators?
Content creators against content creators, yeah, because there's a lot of people that help you out, just like Diego, but there's a lot of more content creators that they're like, nah,
of course. And trust me, I've been in that boat where, I don't know. I think that's a really difficult question because every time I see someone who's a content creator doing something similar to me, I like to root them on. Correct. I love to befriend them. I'm like, oh my God, I'm a person where if we have a lot of similar ideas and dreams and goals, I want to be your friend.
Correct.
I don't want to be your rival, and I don't know why people they see each other as rivals. It makes me really sad. Because it's like, no, that is why a lot of people say El Paso is a bucket of crabs, is pulling ourselves down. And like, no, like we shouldn't be like that.
Correct.
I don't know. I think maybe people are jealous. Maybe people have a big ego. Maybe people, they're mad at themselves. I want to blame those three emotions. But I don't know, because I've seen that happen. I had these two good friends of mine, were mad at each other because they had the same username.
Oh wow! Okay.
I won't say what handle, and because I don't want them to see this and be like, "Why did you mention me?" And it was bad because I was caught in the middle.
Yeah, correct.
And they were like, "No, you can't support this person because they messaged me saying why I copied them, but I didn't copy them. Maybe he copied me." And it was just a lot of stuff that I'm like, why am I?
Yeah, in the middle of that.
This is so dumb.
Yeah.
So what if you guys have the same usernames? Yeah. And I got mad at the that friend that messaged him, and I was like, I called him out. I was like, that was very childish of you.
Correct.
Like, why would you message him? You don't know him, you know? And even if you did know him, you'll realize that person's a really nice person, you know?
Correct.
And I think social media, a lot of people get wrong interpretations of who people are.
Correct.
And I actually learned this because I took a PR class, and it opened my eyes of like, oh, wow, maybe I shouldn't post, like, me drinking wine a lot.
Correct. Because you give the impression.
Now I give the impression of like, all I do is drink wine.
Correct.
And blah, blah, blah. And you know what? The reason why, I don't know if you noticed, but I used to keep Le Magie and Gibel separate.
Yes.
And after I took that PR class, I started kind of like merging it more and more. And the reason why I did that was because I got a lot of assumptions of people thinking that I didn't work. People thinking that all I did was travel. People thinking I was probably just some rich girl that was spending all her family's money. And it made me sad because my family doesn't give me a dime. Everything I have, I've earned. Even with college, I asked my family, can you give me money for college? And they were like, no.
Okay.
And it made me really sad. Of course, they've given me the tools. They've given me a lovely home.
Yes.
And I can't complain, but
not the support that you were wishing to have. You know what I mean? And I did notice, though, because you were having those two pages like completely separate. Now you try to tag each account and everything. Yeah. But do you think social media, it's affecting the way that we post our work? And I'm asking you this as a content creator because, again, I do the same thing. I have two pages, one for my photography and one for like my lifestyle kind of thing. But now, and it happened to me a year and a half where I was too focused on, you know what, because Instagram is not looking for this. Or you know what, the algorithm is not going to push my content. So let me just post a video instead of a picture. Like, do you think content creators are going like based on that too much?
Yeah, I do. And I think something that can help you get out of it is that having different pages. And, you know, I feel like we both have different pages. But I think, for example, if you want to post more or what you want to post, make a different page, you know?
Correct.
Because you're always going to find people that, like, everyone's different, you know? There's going to be people that absolutely love photography, and they're going to follow you. And then there's going to be an audience that loves video, and you're going to have more of a video audience in your other page. Correct. And I was actually talking to this with a photographer, I think it was like about a year ago. He was like, he was telling me, because I have to word it right. He was telling me that he doesn't post his creative stuff, and he feels like he has to post like all this boudoir or like just pictures that he feels like Instagram would like push, and it would push his account. And he said, but that one time that I did post something creative, no one liked it.
Correct.
And I told him, you know why? Because for so many years, you have built an audience for boudoir. And your audience right now is just loving those boudoir pictures, you know? But if you start posting creative pictures, you're going to find a creative audience.
Exactly.
And you can either do it together, you can do it separate. I recommend you do it separate because you can start fresh and you can start building that creative audience, you know? Correct,
from zero. Nice. That's a good advice. And especially since you're trying that, you have different pages for your creative side of the business, your own creativity, and that's just amazing. But I have something to show you, though, to start wrapping up this episode. Yes. But I just want you, I'm going to show you some pictures, and I want you to let me know like what was going through your mind, if you remember, or what are the feelings that you have now looking back at those pictures. Okay. There are 6 pictures, but this is picture number 1, and I'll put them up for you guys to see. But there you go. So picture number 1. What were the feelings on that?
You know what? I don't even own that dress anymore. I don't think it would even fit me now. I think I had just gotten back from a dance practice.
Okay.
And that is why my hair is all messy.
Okay.
Because I was dancing, and this photographer was like, oh, I want to take pictures of you. And I remember thinking like, oh, fuck, let me like perfume. Right, and I went on the bus. I think I took a bus to downtown from the west side. I think the photographer also noticed because he was like, oh, your hair is. And I was like, don't say anything about my hair because Like I took a bus and I walked all the way over here, and I just got back from dance practice.
Just to make it happen.
Just to make it happen. But yeah, I think looking back at that picture, I don't know how I would wear those heels.
Correct.
Because
as
a photographer, I do not wear heels.
Yes.
And the only heels I do own right now, they're like very small.
Correct.
But I was actually thinking the other day, like I need to buy heels. So like when I do like go to fancy events or I do go out, I can like look more, you know.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Nice. Now picture number 2, okay?
How did you get that picture? I'm like, how did you get that picture? Oh wow. This is like, I remember thinking, I was very overwhelmed. I'm trying to remember. This was like a while back.
Yeah.
I remember like I didn't want to look at the audience.
Okay.
So I was kind of like closing my eyes.
Correct.
I was kind of closing my eyes, and I was like, I don't want to look at anyone. And then I think I would like peek every now and then.
Yes.
But yeah, it was very overwhelming moment. And you know what? I never mentioned this pageant, so I think it's very funny that you brought it up, because I like to keep it always like in the back.
Yeah,
like,
in the back burner.
Because I don't want to be known just for, I did this one pageant. You know, I want to be known more for my art.
Yes.
But yeah.
Nice. Next picture.
Ooh. This is an old one. I'm like, this is an old one.
Yeah.
I don't even have it on my Instagram. You probably got it from my tag photos. I don't know where you got this, because this is like old. Wow, that's a while. I don't even own that romper or the heels. I think that those heels broke. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I had them for like 3 years, and I think they're like, trying to remember whatever happened to my heels. But yeah, wow, this is like a really old picture. I remember. This is something that has changed for my like when I do model now. Mm-hmm. And actually, Diego was the one who helped me with this. I used to hate looking at the camera or like having my eyes like, I'm trying to explain it. I used to hate having like, I love taking pictures with sunglasses, in other words. I loved looking away. I loved, I used to hate being confrontational to the camera.
Okay, yeah. So like your eyes to the lens.
To the lens, or even like smirking, or even like, for me, it was always like looking away in sunglasses. Okay. And Diego took pictures of me. And those pictures are my favorite pictures. I'm actually wearing the sweater and a red beret in the pictures. And he remembers telling me like, look confrontational at the camera. And it made me so uncomfortable. I was like, no, I don't like my, like, I guess me looking at it, because it makes me conscious. And he's like, no, like, look confrontational at it. And I did it, and I love those pictures.
Nice.
So it makes me like, from my modeling from before and now, I model very different. Correct. Now I do enjoy looking at the camera. Even though sometimes you're not supposed to, but if the photographer or director is telling you to, you have to break the fourth wall, or like, we want you to look.
Yes, correct.
Now it makes me more comfortable.
Yeah, for sure. Nice. And then this one right here.
Oh my God. Luis Levi, he took that picture of me. I haven't seen him like in a good while, but I love that picture.
I was going to ask you, were you scared? Because were you actually on the edge?
Yeah, I was on the edge.
So were you scared like something might happen? Or how
you know
was
what?
it?
When I was in high school, because I took this in high school. When I was in high school, I was very like, YOLO.
Right.
And I feel like we have that mentality when we're in high school of like,
what happened happens.
What happens. Yeah. And now I would not get on that ledge. I think I'd be very like, no. Yeah, and you know what? The photographers were actually warning me against it. Like, you do not have to do this. Like, we really are worried about your safety. Yes. And I was like, it's fine, guys. Like, you can get a video of me saying it's fine. If I fall, it's not on you, it's on me. But yeah.
But it was an amazing picture. Look at that.
Yeah, it was very fun. I had a very fun time. Ooh. That picture was for a contest that I ended up not winning. I was so sad. YouTube had a contest where if you got a lot of likes on Facebook, you'd win like a $500 gift card.
Yeah, and it was like for different department stores or something like that, right? Yeah.
And I told myself, ooh, and I actually teamed up with this. There was this guy from India, and he was a YouTube student at the time.
Nice.
And his picture, I think he won. Yeah, he won, and he ended up getting a lot of likes. And he was like, "Oh, it's because I have all these friends from India, and they're sharing my pictures on like all these pages in India." But if you want, I'll share your picture too. And I was like, "Oh my god, yes!" And I ended up still not winning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember because I was like, I really, really wanted to win that gift card. I was like, I want to go shopping,
right?
Because I'm a broke college student, and
we all been there, yeah, for sure. And then the last one, okay?
Ooh. Oh wow, I'm so glad you picked this picture. Oh wow, this is yeah, I love this picture so much because you don't see me, and I feel like that's what I was trying to say. Like for so long, I think a lot of my early work, my early photography is about not being seen, you know?
Correct.
Because I wasn't being seen. I felt I was trapped for so long, and I held on to all this creativity and this art and all this weight, and, you know, and that inspired me for like my first like photo series. It was my back series.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. That's one of my personal favorites, to be honest with you, because it says a lot of things. You know what I mean? It's like not a lot of context, but you have the two paintings in front of you. You have you, and like you said, you don't know that it's you, but we know your style, and it's just great.
Yeah.
Now, just to end up things, I always tend to ask this question to my guest, but has your chase for success looked the way you thought it was going to look?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I think I've changed a lot. I've grown a lot. I've realized that you have to push yourself more, and you have to be able to believe in yourself, you know, and you have to surround yourself with people that believe in you, because then you're never going to be able to grow, you know. And I think it's changed a lot. I think before I wanted to be we didn't talk about the writing. Before I wanted to be a writer and actress, you know.
Correct.
And now I think I just want to be a filmmaker that focuses on photography and DP.
Yes. Nice.
And DP work. But yeah, I think it has changed a lot. And I'm very happy to be where I am.
That's great. Gibel, where they can find you, your hashtags?
You can find me at Le Magie Productions on Instagram, or Gibel, Gibeel on Instagram.
Awesome. Gibel, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for making time to come to the podcast. I hope you really enjoyed our conversation.
I did. You opened my eyes of like, remember this in high school? And I was like, oh, how did you know?
Right?
Yeah.
I always try to surprise my guests with stuff like that. But no, thank you for being an awesome guest, okay?
Yeah, thank you. Without love.